So it's even more special to get the chance to celebrate with all the great things that happened this past week. Especially not just the Supreme Court decisions, but I thought the President gave one of the best speeches of his life. That organist and the choir shining in like that, I mean, that was so incredibly inspiring. It really, really was a great week in so many ways. Just for some of you who haven't been to our house before, we've had the opportunity since we moved into this house in about 2007. And I always say I get to brag about this house. I'm from Minnesota, but we don't brag. But I get to brag because we have nothing to do with this wonderful house. We moved in. The front of the house is 100 years old. The people who lived here before us, did these additions. They did 2 additions. When we moved in, literally we hadn't even put furniture in this room yet. And those of you who've been around know Allie Whitfield came knocking at our door and said, "Hey, this is a great fundraiser house. We heard you're good. Would you like to do a fundraiser for Bob Brink?" And some of you, Craig, you were probably there. I think some of you were probably at that fundraiser. And we've been having events here for Democrats at least twice a year, I think, since. Sometimes fundraisers. Only one high-dollar fundraiser, and that was for the president in the first term. But usually low-dollar fundraisers, meet and greets, and we've been a staging location for a number of campaigns. If you've seen the flow of the house, we can really bring people in. And what's so fun about that is the development of community. And I really think that, this decision on Friday, for example, it was the Supreme Court's decision, but I think that was the culmination of a huge community effort over many, many, many years. It was and it's us, the Democrats, all of us, our full tent of activists who were out there first, making noise and talking things up and sometimes making people uncomfortable. It was our political leaders, some of whom have been on gay rights from the beginning, some of whom took it up later, but kept talking about it. It's voters, it's everyone who supported the issues over time. But at the end of the day, it was the quiet people who go to church and listen to their leaders, and they would say, they're independent-minded, and they said, I don't quite agree with what he's saying. This is not right. And it's really, that's what community is about. When we very slowly, over a long period of time, build those values and communicate those values all across our nation. We were right on that issue. Yes. And frankly, we're right on most issues. And pages of information about April's opponent. He is so wrong on every single issue. This would take me a while to read everything, but I really want to communicate some of the things to you. So let me just say one more thing about this past week. Our good friend and neighbor, who's not here today, unfortunately, Mady Green, it's a tradition of mine to always quote her favorite saying, and many of you know it, elections matter. Elections matter. Not long ago, 2012, 2013, we in Virginia were the laughing stock of the nation. Transvaginal ultrasound, that went national. That was our legislature. How things turn around when we have the right people in office. Mark Herring's opponent was Mark Obenshain, who is now April's opponent. As far as I'm concerned, and when you run for Attorney General, what are you looking at next? Probably running for governor. As far as I'm concerned, stop him now with April's election. We're going to bring this time. Let me just say a few things. And this list, I had to cut it down because there were so many amazing things. Just a few things. Women's issues. He introduced a bill that would require women who had miscarriages to report that within 24 hours to the police if they have a miscarriage in their own home. He supported the personhood bill. And of course, he supported the transvaginal ultrasound bill. Not only did he support it at the time, in 2014, when a bill was introduced to repeal the ultrasound bill, he did not support that. He also did not support the Sass Law amendment that, what's even worse is we require that of women, and then we make them pay for it, because we don't even cover the procedure. And he voted against covering that procedure. I'm just getting started, folks. Voting rights. Mark Obenshain sponsored a bill limiting the types of photo ID that you can use to vote in this country. He did not, in the Commonwealth. He did not support any of the bills to allow absentee voting, making absentee voting for any voters. Anti-gay things, oh my gosh. He voted against non-discrimination protections for homosexual state employees. He walked off the floor when the Richmond prosecutor Tracy Thorne Begland, who is openly gay, was up for appointment for a court judgeship. He voted against overturning Virginia's law on sodomy among consenting adults. I have 2 teenage boys, and we have a lot of teenagers in this house, and they use a lot of, kind of language that I always tell them, guys, that's not really appropriate. Like, I can't tell you how many of those words have been going through my mind. I think of this guy. Alfonso, he does not support in-state tuition for Dreamers.
No, he doesn't.
This guy, I'm not even going to list the anti-animal things this guy has, but let me just say he does not love puppies. He doesn't love dogs, he doesn't love foxes, and he doesn't love chickens. This guy never met a gun law that he didn't, want to make it the easiest way possible for anyone to have a gun. He was against, he voted to repeal the law that limited people to 1 handgun every 30 days. He voted against disclosing any information about people who have concealed handgun permits. And of course, he voted for allowing guns in alcohol-serving establishments. And of course, against background checks. I could go on, but let me just, here's the summary for you. Family Foundation of Virginia, which is a pro-life, pro-traditional marriage, and wants Virginia to be a national model for religious liberty. They gave him a 100% rating for his voting records. The American Conservative Union, 100% rating. His top donors are coal mining, energy production, home heating oil, natural gas. These are his top donors, so you know where he is in those issues. Other side of the coin, narrow pro-choice Virginia, 0% rating. 0. This is the one that gets me as a school board member. The Virginia Education Association, our teachers, gave him a 0% rating. There's not one thing this guy ever voted for that supports public school teachers. It's really, really unbelievable. So that's who we're here today to talk about and to defeat. Before I turn it over to April, I do want to acknowledge a number of people in the room that came out to support April that we're very happy to have, our elected officials. Let me just sort of go from here and see if I can catch everyone. If I miss you, we'll circle back around. Alfonso Lopez, state delegate. We have Delegate Patrick Hope. We have Senator Dave Marsden. Clerk of the Court, Paul Ferguson. And State Senator Adam Evans. I think that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to introduce to you the next State Senator from the 26th District, April Moore.